Alright. Alright. It's a little late right now. Ish. I just got off work not too long ago and finished my run. But yeah, I did say that I was going to be uploading videos more often now. Regarding to DvN. So I do have some little bits of news and whatnot that I should probably go off right off the bat. So I'm doing videos kind of informally right now, and honestly they're probably going to remain very informal. Like, I'm not going to edit out that cough. So, but I don't got time for editing and whatnot. I figured that this is better than no video. But I will go ahead and say a couple important things. My activity development-wise, and this actually is important to also mention everybody's activity-wise, development-wise. Sorry. I'm a little bit tired. So I might be a little loopy, but okay. Basically, we've all been pretty decently inactive and somewhat active. Our activity and development has been kind of on and off, which you may have noticed, and our ability to run the game has been very difficult. And then recently, we actually switched hands from Sensei to Mangle, so there's a bit of a reform, and I think DvN now actually has quite a bright future. Because in the past, it was this mindset of we knew inevitably it was going to be doomed because we just couldn't work on this game, really. We didn't have much freedom to do what we needed to, and there's too much problems. But now, this game, I am looking forward to actually growing. But I have some complications, and I only speak for myself when I say this, but I still have a very hectic life, and I have a lot of stuff I gotta get dealt with before I can get really involved in this game. So, bad news, at least on my end, is that my activity in development will probably remain very shoddy and sparse, which means, just like how everyone else is probably not going to be super active, development's going to remain pretty slow, up until, I want to say, at the latest, New Year's. I'm hoping that somewhere in late December, when I finish moving and doing all I need to, that I will actually start working on the game full time. So yes, this means I will probably try to work 40 hours a week on this game and just kind of see what happens. This is kind of why I was really trying to push for monetization. So I should probably explain some of that to you guys. If any of you are unfamiliar or weren't there during the dev stream, a little recap is that one of the big changes is DvN is going to get monetization. And I know, this is probably going to anger a lot of you, scare a lot of you, but before you get upset, I would like for you to at least hear what I'm going to say. The monetizations that we're looking at are a couple different things. UGC is one of them, so I know specifically I want to look into making boss equipment and like unit accessories actually available for players to have. So first one's first is probably going to be like Lelantos' arm blades. So ideally, you'll get to run around with little arm blades. And then from then on, we'll add more and more. But the reason why I want to start with hers is because actually a lot of bosses might get new assets. So that way they're original to us. And also just higher quality assets. Like Prometheus, his flamethrower, I think, is like a default like flamethrower item from like the Roblox like toolbox. It's pretty bad. So it would be cool to give him a really neat new model. Still make it look high-tech and fancy, because, you know, the flamethrower can do some cool stuff, like air blasting, launching fireballs, and burning. It's obviously a very fancy flamethrower. But other things we're looking at is also in-game stuff, specifically things that will aid in player cosmetics. So no, if you're wondering, oh, will there be like pay to win or pay to progress? No, there will not be anything like that. Not even like Warframe style, where they kind of have theirs where they have like, you can optionally pay to progress. And they do it in a very fair way, don't get me wrong, but no, we won't even have that. You will be able to unlock everything, just like anyone else. We do not have any plans for paid-only cosmetics. And I've thought about it some, but based on the rest of the team's thoughts on things, probably will not happen. So, yes, all the content still completely free, but you can pay for. Currently, what we're looking at is a donation system. It's not much of like an actual like paid paid content, but the donation system, if you do choose to donate to the game, will come with perks, little mini perks and rewards, like a little supporter badge and tag and chat, along with some cool like little like effects that say, hey, I'm a supporter. And you'll also get a boost in points, the currency that literally nobody uses because they only buy really basic outfits, and you could buy the entire shop eventually with no rhyme or reason. So on the topic of cosmetics, when I say that we want to expand on cosmetics, we're probably going to overhaul how cosmetics work in DvN. So instead of just a bunch of outfits that you can buy, the outfits themselves you can still buy, but they'll be treated like bundles, where you'll buy an outfit and you'll be able to mix and match them a bit more. So you'll be able to have more freedom of customizations, or you can just wear the standard outfit too. But on top of that, we're thinking equipment and gun skins, and you'll be able to change textures and colors of said equipment. And we have discussed trying to moderate cosmetics a bit, because I know people are like, they don't want people running around with like super rainbow bright disco guns and whatnot. It would just be really obnoxious. So we'll have presets for said cosmetics. Like if you want, you can have like a combat rifle with like some cool like little, maybe a dark blue or green camo, or maybe like a sand texture. I do want to do some actual like legitimate art in our stuff, not just like, oh, you can use Roblox textures and spend real money for that. Like that seems kind of lame. So think about possibly you can buy other models for your weapons, like different styles of said weapon. You know, like an armor peeler we could have an entire different model for your armor peeler, like a different railgun. At the end of the day, it'll still have to look like its type of weapon. Like, I'm not talking like magic wizard staff as gift of fire. Fireball, fireball. Don't get me wrong, that would be pretty sick, but you know, you could have like just slight variations and whatnot. Some ones that look a little bit cooler, but still fit the theme of DvN, so I just figured that was kind of something I wanted to get out and address right off the bat. Because we want to make sure that if we're going to actually be putting a real effort in this game, not this... Yeah, because let's be honest, the past year has been really rough in terms of development. A lot of the updates have been really bland, not much new coming to the game, and of what has changed or come to the game, I understand, honestly, a lot of you guys are very not happy about. I understand that Lelantos has been quite a sore spot to the community as well. Sorry, that is my doing, but, you know, I'll say this like a broken record. I do have a rework plan for her, and it's not just planned, but it's in the making right now. In fact, I'm not just on DvN, I am on our test place. If you look in the top right, you can see test place version 30.525. And because Lelantos has had some changes. Now, she's still very experimental, and the reason why her rework has been announced a long time ago but has never come out is because she's actually been through many different, like, prototypes. But, dude, it's like trying to find what works with her is surprisingly challenging. I've had a really hard time, but I've been really trying to nail it down. So I will get to showing off some of that stuff, including other things. So this video will kind of just be like just talking and ranting about stuff, and you'll get some insight and stuff. I'll show off some stuff, but it's not going to be a super exciting video because I'm just trying to get my channel and whatnot kickstarted back up. And what it is over the next few months of having to do a lot. Like I said, I don't want to elaborate too much because you guys don't need to know too much about my personal life. But, you know, I have to get my car fixed up and in tip-top shape. I got moves and stuff, and, like, I have to get my job situation sorted out, because if I do move, I'm not going to be working the same job anymore, which could get interesting. And I understand I'm saying working on DvN full-time, but I'm not promising to be able to make enough to just work on the game 24/7. It would be cool. Don't get me wrong, that's a cool idea, because you guys would be seeing a lot of updates, a lot of fixing, and the game would probably be in a much better state if that was the case. But it's a bit of a big wish, bit of a big ask right now, so I need to be able to sustain myself as well. But I'm still serious about the whole working on the game full-time, you know. I might just have to work on the game full-time and also deal with balancing work life as well. but just right now is not the best time. But I'll still work on the game a bit. But yeah, I'm not really sure where I want to go first off. As you see, I'm streaming my full screen right now because for some reason on OBS trying to record Roblox shows a white screen, and I know there's some fixes for it, but I don't know, I'll fix it later. Because I do want to get to bed at some point, but I did feel in the mood to instead just go on a little rant. And I'm probably going to be a little bit everywhere. You probably notice I'm kind of switching subjects and not really staying consistent. Follow along if you can. But I also want to get into playing DvN a bit more, because I play DvN, but I just don't play it like I used to as much, Well, back when I was an unemployed hell mode loser. But where do I begin? That's a good question. Got a lot of stuff that I can cover, actually. I don't think there's a whole lot of news right now. How's DvN doing right now? Let's check it out. Alright. Two 49 players. Poor game. We'll save DvN though. But what do I go over first? I mean, I guess I can get straight into talking about Lelantos a bit and showing off some of her changes. For Lelantos, I think I'll have to switch the map to Garden. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. So also, if you guys want to give any input in my videos, because I used to make videos a lot, but it's been a long time now. So, like, I don't know if my volumes and whatnot are good. And like I said, obviously, I am not going to have a whole lot of editing, or probably really any editing to my videos hardly right now. So, I'll try to get something more high quality out from time to time. You can also see that someone's currently working on the game right now, because the spawns are visible. There's a noob spawn and a mech spawn. There's a mastermind spawn there. But yeah, let's spawn good old Lelantos in. So, I guess I'll kind of just talk about her while I kind of show her off. She's very buggy, finicky, and weird right now, and you're going to see some really weird behaviors. But I'll kind of explain what you're saying. Actually, does she work currently right now? Oh. Her prowl does not work. See if I can get her to perform one of her weird behaviors. Oh, yep. There she goes, jumping up a bit. You'll kind of notice something in her a couple things in her behavior. Like, alright, she's definitely acting a lot weirder than usual. Very abnormal with how she's acting. So, ooh, Gilly. Ooh, some weird units. I think this is already shown off in the death stream a bit. Ooh, speaking of Gilly, I have some. That's a conversation starter there. Not just Gillies, but the topic around that Gillies are centered around. That being DvN's endless mode. Yeah, her prowl seems to be bugged right now. But what you might notice right here is a crazy, super crazy ass jump. You'll notice a little like side dash there. It's not a strafe actually. That right there is a physical dash, but you kind of can't tell right now. Also, I feel like my game's kind of loud. Yeah. I'll show off the final interaction, and then we'll get to the gist of, okay, what are we seeing here? What is going on with her, and why is she so bizarre? I think her dash does work. Oh my god, she lunges really far. Okay, so, wait, let's see if I can get her to do it. Oh my god, she actually hits me too. Okay, so Lelantos is changed a lot, obviously, and she looks a bit stupid right now, in fact. So, Lelantos has had some changes that I don't think the players know about too much. Like, her lore has been completely rewritten. She's not an edgy, sadistic serial killer who murders people for fun now. It's a bit shallow, and her lore is a bit confusing now if you were to try to research on it, because her lore is actually kind of obscured in almost like a forensics redacted type situation. So you'll have to uncover the truth on your own, kind of ARG whole thing. But there's not a whole lot of information that we know about her as of right now. But what we're seeing with Lelantos is a bit of a shift in how she operates. So she has been out for quite a long time now, heading onto a year actually, and this has given me more than enough time to get a feel for her and receive feedback from the community and address said problems with her. But I didn't just want to fix her. It was because if it was just like, oh, she's a little too OP, she does too much damage. Okay, well, nerf her damage then. But her design at its core had so many flaws in it, and that's just very evident. She is meant to be a kind of an exciting, thrilling boss that jump scares you almost. She keeps you on your toes, you know. And she's supposed to reward you for having your wits about you, not, and, you know, obviously punish you for being reckless and not paying attention to your surroundings. That's the whole point of a stealth boss in general. Ugh, God, the hiccups are killing me. So, what we saw with her is, you notice that she wasn't cloaked. That's because I just needed to test some things with her. But I've been playing around with CDR's custom pathfinding a bit, and his pathfinding still needs some work, so that is kind of the issue. We can't implement this until we figure out pathfinding, but her entire system as a whole is being overhauled, which... Hold on, let me reduce my music volume. This song's kind of loud. But... So, Lelantos, you may have saw that she had that little lunge when she got near me. So, actually, she prefers being a true stealth unit now. Instead of being a glorified Daedalus and just teleporting next to you, she can still teleport situationally, and it's if she's super far from her target. And also, when she does teleport, instead of teleporting like right next to you, she'll teleport like 500 studs away, like over there. So if she's like all the way over there, she's like, okay, that's a bit too far. Let's close the gap and appear there, right? Like that's still far enough away from her target that it doesn't just feel like she came out of nowhere. But she can also be seen from across the map, fading in and out. So you can actually catch her as she's sneaking up on your team, even if she's really far away. But she's a lot stealthier now, a lot harder to detect and a lot harder to hear. So that same issue where back in the day when she actually used to be genuinely stealthy, but the problem was that she was too unfair then, because if you didn't see her, she would just kill you. Well, now she's actually allowed to be stealthier, like actually stealthy. Because whenever she gets up to you, as you may have saw, she had that little lunge. We'll spawn her back in to kind of see if we can get her to do it. It's kind of weird that I'm spawning Lelantos, yet it's spawning the one with her regular. She's supposed to get an outfit change. But she no longer instantly stabs you. Instead, whenever she gets close to you, she'll reveal herself for a moment and then lunge at you. Which, obviously, you can see that the values need tweaked a bit, and obviously she needs animations to show that off. But it's kind of like if you know Ares' little... I kind of wonder if I could show it off right now. Check it out. That attack right there. You saw that little attack where well, he didn't lunge forward for some reason. But it had like a faded telegraph that locks onto the player, and then he kind of does like a forward dash. It's kind of like that pretty much. And you can either try to sidestep it or evade it. Or if you shoot her in time, you can actually stun her. And if you shoot her before she even uncloaks in the first place, it'll also stun her. So now she not only gives you a chance to actually defend yourself, while still pressuring you. You know, you still got to react pretty fast. But you can actually react to defend yourself. But she also will reward you for catching her before she catches you. So now there's a bit of a proper punishment and reward system that gives an air of flexibility. And the idea is to make her more challenging than she is just bullshit. So, once she does her little dash, she will then pursue her target. Now, there's a little bit of a tweak to her numbers. If we check out DvN Lelantos, you'll notice that her damage output is 40 to 80 because her base damage is 40 and her stealth multiplier is 2. Her new values are actually 20 and 90. No, sorry, 30 and 90. So her base damage got nerfed from 40 to 30, and her attack rate got increased. So she now actually prefers rapid DPS, and she, to make up for it, has a 3 times stealth multiplier. So now her ambushes on lower difficulty should feel definitely more threatening, and her scaling has also been adjusted a bit to not be super aggressive. So I think, like, if you get stabbed by her on Masochist, instead of, like, doubling her damage to 60 per slash, it's like 45, which is still pretty aggressive, but it's pretty breathable. And another change, I'm not sure if this is actually going to be a controversial change, but you might have noticed she didn't fire at me. She didn't pull a gun out or shoot me any. And her gun AI has been stripped completely. Now, I personally was like, surely this is a good change, right? I don't feel like anybody really liked her gun at all. I felt like her gun was just annoying and really oppressive. And it was kind of meant to actually, her gun was not meant to be like an important part of her kit. It was meant to be there to compensate for some things. But our coding capabilities have gotten a lot better, and now I won't need to use a mechanic like that anymore. I actually have better ways of punishment and counteraction measures with her. So now she is a full melee combatant, and she prefers actual melee AI. And I think this is a lot more exciting. Her strafing has been replaced with a side dash too. So the way she works now is, see if I can stun her. You'll notice that she doesn't have an animation yet, but she did get stunned instead of lunging at me. But the pathfinding is a little buggy, but she's actually faster than the player, and she will prefer to run at the player. And normally her arms would be swinging and whatnot. Like, she'll actually be physically running, not just holding her arms awkwardly and just like jittering her legs at really high speed. But instead, she prefers a little bit of a side dash, which, like I said, values are subject to being changed. And this dash, to make up for the fact that she will inevitably catch you if you don't deal with her, the dash does, while it makes it harder to focus on her completely, it does kind of slow her down a bit. And basically, it's, her goal is to pursue and chase you. Now, okay, it's probably time to address the elephant in the room. Which check out. You might have noticed, like, this kind of behavior.
Oh, what is a ragdoll again? You need a ragdoll again.
Okay, yeah, you might have noticed she's capable of leaping. Which, obviously that video, not intended. She is not supposed to be doing those Sparta leaps. But, there's a lot of us do know she does have a kind of an exosuit on. It's a piece of mobility gear, which you can kind of see wrapping her. It's gonna get a new model eventually because it's not very well showcased. But she's capable of actual agility and parkour. I think I have another clip somewhere to show off. Somewhere. Hold on, let me check for it. I'm gonna scroll down. Oh yeah, check this out. You see that she... Okay, that is not the right clip. She's just jumping like a bunny rabbit. Duh. I gotta organize these, man. Oh, wait. Is this it right here? Let her sneak a wormhole theory earlier? Oh. There you go. Hold on. Check this out. So, we were talking about, like, a wormhole theory earlier? Oh. What the... So, yeah, she, can actually take shortcuts along the way to close the gap if she's climbing over terrain. And if her target is harder to reach, she will leap to close the distance. Now, these values, like I said, are going to be tweaked. she's gonna have better like indicators and visual and sound effects for these actions too, along with limitations, so she doesn't just land on top of your skull and instantly kill you or something stupid like that. But she's definitely getting quite an increase in her aggression to make up for the fact that she does not have a gun. She is now going to be a Wave 6 boss by the looks of it. And last but not least, there is a feature that is not fully finished with her yet, but I am really excited to work on. Her teleporting mechanic is being changed. I mean, like, specifically her teleporter stalking mechanic. So, oh, I should also state, with the pathfinding changes, her prowl AI has been changed a bit, specifically her speed. So she doesn't run at a flat speed anymore. To make up for the fact that she will be able to actually be further away from her target without being forced to teleport next to them. And in fact, she's not allowed to teleport next to them anymore. Her speed will scale the further away she is from her target. So if she's super far, she'll run super fast. But as she gets closer, she'll gradually slow down. But one of the things that I want to mention was a new system that I will have to whip out MS Paint to demonstrate. Lelantos, her teleporting AI is, instead of being its own custom state that stalls the game out, is being smoothly integrated into her prowl state. She will now have a new behavior that is similar to the Endless Mode unit Hijacker's behavior, which, that's a whole can of worms if you've never heard of that. Sorry, let's draw like a little diagram here. So, this black that you're seeing is terrain. It's a wall. You know, you have to go around it. Right here in green, we're going to draw a player. This little green dot is our player, and this little red dot is our Lelantos. And here is a teleporter, and here is another teleporter. So, as you can see, to cut down the distance between one point of the wall to the other, the player has placed a teleporter between these two locations. Now, what would Lelantos normally do in this situation? Well, current Lelantos would do something stupid, like sit here and camp for like 2 minutes straight. I don't know, not 2 minutes straight, but like 7 seconds straight, even if nobody's near the other teleporter. Or, another thing she could do is go all the way around and then go directly to the player like that. But Lelantos has a unique behavior now. Here's another route. Here's the route she's more likely to take. And you're probably thinking, hold on. That line is going to the teleporter, not the other. Lelantos' teleporter interactions have changed. And it's using a kind of an advanced pathfinding length check, where she will corral the instances of teleporters, connect teleporters only. And she will check through each teleporter, checking for the shortest pathfinding length, comparing it to the direct path to the player. And if convenient, she'll use a teleporter to close the gap to a player, since it is quicker. So, I mentioned something, I think it was like a wormhole theory, where you fold the distance between two locations. So on our screen, what you see below is what we normally see, but from her vision, this is what she sees. So you can see why she would much rather take this route here. And yes, she can still stalk teleporters, but this behavior has also been changed to be very conditional. So the rule is that she has to be near a teleporter that's also near specifically her target. And also, she has to be closer to the teleporter than she is to her target. Otherwise, she could just run up to her target. So she will only try to lure her prey if it's convenient for her. If it actually is more likely to be effective. There might need to be some more checks, because this could be potentially exploitable. But all in all, she's going to get a major AI increase. Not increase, oh my god. AI enhancement. She's going to get very... she's going to be a lot smarter in how she hunts her players down. And there will probably be a lot of other changes too. Including like with how her, like the logic with her decoys and how they work. Because we want her decoys to also do a good job at confusing and distracting players. But as of right now, that is the current news we have on Lelantos. Yeah, I know. I know it's kind of a long session, but if you were able to follow that, tell me your thoughts on it. You know, you mess with it or no? I mean, it's gonna get done one way or another, but it's good to get feedback. But moving on, that is enough for Lelantos. Now, I should probably give you guys news moving forward on what's good topic. Super units. Because as we know, there are 2 upcoming bosses coming to the game soon. Proteus and Ajax. Which here we have Mr. Proteus. I will not show off Ajax because she has actually had some change. No, wait, I can show her off because we did show her off in the dev stream. He's a little bugged. He has his party skin like half equipped right now. So, this is our one-man army unit. This guy was a former, supposed to be a Wave 9 boss. But we're thinking about adding a new roster to, basically there's a chance on Wave 10 that you may face a super unit as one of the bosses. So, in other words, he will be like Wave 10 exclusives. Because he is extremely powerful. I know since the last time you guys fought him, he probably wasn't super powerful, but he has changed a lot. This guy is capable of covering and infesting your map. And also, he's been optimized a lot since last time, so I know server lag was a big deal with him before. Still, some issues with bullet tracers and whatnot still need to be addressed, and he's definitely got a couple little finishing details that need to be dealt with too, but... see if it... oh, yep, one already leaped here. They're already trying to surround me. Very quick, they were already on it, without missing a beat. Yeah, I'm really excited, though. This guy's theme song is pretty cool, too. And I'm really glad, like, I'm really excited about the idea of him being, like, a Wave 10 exclusive boss, because just of how he's kind of polarizing for the game. His design is, like, really out there, and I know in terms of balancing is too jarring, plus his song is doing a lot for what you're used to. So it makes sense that he'd be a Wave 10 boss, considering that he's a super unit, you know? It just doesn't make sense to put a super unit on, like, Wave 9 with the other standard Wave 9 bosses. But, then you got the other one, that being Ajax. Ajax is the area denial boss, who will steal your land and take control. Oh yeah, she'll do that. Pretty tough. A little bit of a delay in there. If I do like a jet over, I think she'll hook me down. Yeah. So she's really oppressive sometimes. If I get grabbed by her, she'll flat out kill me if I get grabbed by her. That's even in creative mode. Or even with infinite HP. But yeah, she's very work in progress still. And there's a little bit of a topic right now with Ares specifically, because we wanted to have 3 super units ready, and honestly, we were thinking about adding Ares to Siege, but he's probably going to receive some changes, just with general balancing and whatnot. We still want him to be that big, scary, invincible powerhouse, you know, but his rage state, for example, isn't very well telegraphed, and it's not very well made either. Like, a rage state in bosses is supposed to make bosses have, like, more aggressive and erratic behaviors, unlocking new abilities and whatnot, but Ares, not so much. It mostly just allows him to mutilate and mangle more. Like, certain attacks that didn't mangle before, I think will start mutilating, and certain attacks that did nothing other than kill will start mangling. And that kind of design philosophy, not good. Not good. That's actually really bad design. Honestly, it's probably more likely to just piss the player off. Like, okay, that attack never mutilated before, and now I'm unable to play the game. So, mutilation as well being in Siege is definitely an alarming thing to have, especially for new players. So there might be some tweaks behind it, like duration-based mutilation, or at least something for difficulty-wise to prevent him from, like, you know, trying to screw over players that are not as I guess, like, familiar with the game. Like, you don't want a new player joining and just getting mutilated, and it's like, oh, okay, what do I do now? Oh, I sit out for the rest of the game. It's just not fair for them. For you Masochists and Hell players, though, don't worry. I'm sure this guy's going to give you plenty of problems, and I'll make sure that he does. Just like the rest of them. But yeah, that's kind of so far. I'll see if there's. I don't know if there's anything else for me to discuss about. I will. So about the Ghillie unit. Is spawn unit Ghillie. Where's this guy at? This guy I know some of you guys may have seen before, potentially. And actually, I want to find... There was a guy on our Discord server who came up with this concept. This one works a bit differently than the original proposed idea, but just the general idea of a Ghillie sniper, the guy who cloaks and was able to kind of pick off players a bit. I was honestly a really cool idea. I was like, oh shoot, I kind of mess with it. Honestly, wait. Let's get a good look real quick. Ghillie sniper adding a store with. Let's see. I think it was in suggestions. Yeah, it makes sense. It'd be really cool school. Ah, shooting me. Ooh, was it this guy? Just saw some out. Ghillie, wave 5 less than you. Immediately caught my eye with the Ghillie. And yeah, and you did it almost the same exact way I would have too. Weaker than a sniper, but still similar, as a trade-off for its stealth. So, yes, shout out to Shadow Generals. Shadow Generals, I got some news for you, dude. You might be a catalyst for something really, really big. Partially. It was actually a conglomerate of ideas, but you fed into this. So, let's read it. A wave 5+ unit wears a Ghillie suit, carries a semi-automatic rifle, slow fire rate, decent 20-ish damage, behaves like infantry in terms of firing, and attempts to go near a vantage point close to a key point where NG-Plat mortar-style units would set up. He then sits there and cloaks the same as the Saboteur and attempts to ambush players that go to deal with anything that may have set up there. Could have an opener shot indicated the same as a sniper that deals double/triple damage and decloaks the Ghillie. So he works. It was a little wrong to say this because he actually works quite a bit differently. He deals 30 damage and it does kind of scale, but he repositions like he says, but he does not go to checkpoints. He repositions freely actually, so he can position himself wherever he needs to. And what separates him from most units is the fact that he can kind of just appear here, there, over there. And it really, if say my cover point is here, I'm like, oh, dealing with units here, he could be behind me. And then it's like, oh shoot, I'm in a pinch. And this kind of design is kind of dangerous because it's actually, oh shoot. Laser's a bit buggy, as you can see right now. I don't know why. But yeah, he's also kind of hard to see because his glint is a lot less, his little laser sight is not as bright. So, this guy used to be really bad when he was hit scan, actually. But, oh. What he does is he prefers to kind of camp an area for a little while. Say 50, he stays for 15 seconds if he doesn't see a target. If he does see a target, he locks onto a target. And then fires, and then cloaks, and then leaves. And then, you can kind of see him. Has standard 100 HP, so... Oh, I think I can see him. There he is. He's honestly probably one of my favorite personal designs that units that I've made. What I appreciate about him the most is that he's probably by far the most vanilla-friendly type unit. He feels a lot more like he belongs in DvN. His design makes it very obvious as to what he is, and he's simplistic. His behavior is unique, and the role he serves is unique. But he's not overdoing it. He doesn't have, he only has 100 HP. You can see him decently well. He's not like Lelantos where she can fully cloak. And yeah, his behavior's pretty simple. You can go ahead and shoot him, or melee him, Nothing too crazy. But, what makes him stand out, actually, is the fact that he's not just going to be in DvN, playing Siege. Personally, adding more units to Siege, I think, is something that has to be done very carefully because... Well, the game itself, I know, actually feels pretty complete with most units it has. Which we do actually have one unit in particular coming to Siege eventually. That being the APC, an armored vehicle that is capable of harassing players, but also relocating units and bringing them closer to players. So it's kind of an armored support unit. But the Ghillie specifically is an elite variant of the sniper. And this is a very key thing that should be clear about, he is basically a upgrade to the sniper. And what this means is that specifically in endless mode, each unit has a special elite version of itself that is different. Like cloakers have the exo runners, which those guys are a whole can of worms on their own. They work differently, but they still have a similar identity to the original unit. The hijacker is the elite saboteur, who prioritizes being more skittish and evasive of combat. Doesn't place landmines or anything, but is capable of turning your own equipment against you for solid durations at a time, and really just putting pressure in on players more situationally. But it serves as one of the modifiers because Endless is going to kind of take on a roguelite style, having like custom modifiers to enhance your difficulty. And you can essentially have modifiers that are like, this modifier that appeared on my screen says 10% or plus 10% of existing cloakers will be their elite counterpart, you know, or something like that. Bosses will also have elite versions of themselves. What this means is that when this update does come around, I'm going to have my work cut out for me, and I'm really excited for it. I'm going to have so many units to work on. So many new additions. Yes, sure, they are. You could just say they're variants, but a lot of these units are going to be so different from their original counterparts. That's why they are being separately classified as new units, because the Exo Runner is almost borderline a boss level threat, and its behavior is just so alien from what we're typically used to, you know. But that being said, we could expect to see these elite units appear in other modes. Like, for example, Siege, we could have a special wave that's like... You could have a special wave that converts a bunch of the units into their elite versions, you know. It's just like with Attrition. Attrition's getting a major overhaul. It's going to have a lot of pretty interesting changes. Though we do got to do a lot of changes with our current works in Attrition because we've had some road bumps along the way. But yeah, I know. I will want. So one thing that I want to say, I think I'm going to change the map right real quick because this is a good time to kind of set up a new segment, which is talking about problems. So if you've gotten to this point, I want to address some things and also apologize about some things as well. DvN's had it rough, and honestly, we as developers have not been the best towards the community. We've not been the best towards this game. And our attitudes and how we approach it it's still rough. We've had to go back to the drawing board way too many times about certain topics, and how the Attrition rework has been talked about for ages now, dude. It's been over a year. I don't know how long it's been. It's been so long, but development's just not smooth. The foundation of the game is it's really hard and bad to work with, which is why I've been so obsessive over this recode for Test Place, because I want to remake a lot of the game's shoddy code and make a better foundation for the game to work on. I want to have more responsibility. Honestly, I think adding monetization, one of the benefits it has is that it sets expectations. It puts pressure on us. Like, hey, you know, we as a community, we're giving our money to you and whatnot, you know, we're trying to support you, but like, you're not delivering any expectations. Like, what gives, you know? It actually puts a flame beneath us, but it's also a motivation factor too. You know, I think it's a healthy thing for us. We need to be more accountable as developers, you know? And ever since we've switched hands from Sensei to Atlas or Mangled Nether, whichever you prefer to call her, this was pretty recent, and we've been reforming how we've been operating a lot. We've had some pretty difficult conversations recently, and I think we're starting to head towards the right direction more. But it's just, let me turn the music a bit up because I can hear that there's gonna be some noise downstairs that I'm not fond of at all. Yeah, I would also like to live in my own place so I don't have to deal with distractions constantly. And just having my own place would be nice. But, another thing is that, I want to smoothen development more, and I want to actually have more priority towards actually getting things done. Also, 2.1 getting scrapped? No. I'm tired. That's another thing. We were going to scrap 2.1 because of the fact that this game was just inevitably going to die, but now that that's changed, there is big talk of the horizon of actually having a major update come out for DvN again, and I see it as being very possible. Now, I will say, like I said, odds are, for the next probably 3 months, the development rates of this game is still going to be really low. We're probably gonna remain in this dead pocket for a few more months, but like it's just a few more months. We'll just get through this, all right, and then we're gonna start hammering real nice and hard, you know. So you can count on me. You can count on me for that. So if you want to give us any grief, I'm your guy. I'm your guy to point problems towards. So I've kind of taken on a bit more of a management position in this game too, so my responsibility has also increased quite a bit. So it's pretty awesome, but at the same time, you know, it's going to become quite exhausting at some point. But, you know, like I said, once again, I'm sorry that updates have been, not only have they been egregiously slow, there's been a bunch of promises that just seem like empty promises, because it's like, we've been teasing all this stuff, but nothing has been happening. Don't worry, it's not that it's scrapped, it's just that it's been that slow. But all the stuff, for the most part, most of the stuff that you've seen, I say most of it, there might have been a couple things here and there that have been scrapped. Once again, you've also noticed that organization has been pretty bad throughout history. So it's improving too, but oh my god, dude. But yes, a lot of the things that you've seen that have been teased, we're going to start focusing on actually bringing those things back. I want to deliver them in good quality, as a good package, and I'm hoping for it to not take 80 years to do. Will it be done in a couple months? No, yeah, you're going to have to wait longer because it's only a matter of time until we start actually really hammering stuff down. So yeah, that part, there's nothing I can really do about. But once the game starts really snowballing and once we start working really hard at it, I see a lot brighter of a future. But we have one really skilled coder who is dealing with a lot of school stuff and potentially work stuff. He does not know what's over his horizon. That being Mr. CDR himself. He's gonna be quite a busy man, so that's one person that's gonna be kind of hard to deal with. McJoe, he's got stuff he's got to do too. You know, DvN's not the only project that he's actually involved in. Mango's got a lot of stuff involving work, and Shura's actually pretty diligent. So I know we'll give a lot of her grief on some of the things that she does, but I'll give it to Shura. She actually is she's one of the few that's actually been pretty consistently active. And she actually is one to work on the game even when she really doesn't feel like it, but hopefully she doesn't experience too much burnout from that. That is definitely... But yeah, shout out to Shura on that. All of them, really. They work pretty hard. But Pink as well has been pretty active, but we're kind of in a bit of a rough spot right now, so... Another reason I'm also doing this, and I'm saying these words, is that I know when I start to get things rolling on my end, when I get myself into habits, I can start improving my end of things, not just in life in general too. I've been trying to work on bettering my habits as a person. I started going to the gym recently and whatnot, you know. This isn't about me, but I know DvN, I've struggled with a lot of motivation because, you know, like, I've had a lot of motivation problems in life in general this past year and a half. So I'm really hoping, like, this video is another way for me trying to get myself, hold myself more accountable. I want to start uploading more again as well, so we can put a better spotlight on DvN. I can start being more interactive with the community again, showing you guys some things, actually being vocal and communicating. And I know, like I said, this is probably going to be a really long video, but if you guys don't mind sitting down listening to rants and whatnot, I know some of you guys like that. It's good, like, podcast, like, background audio. But also, I want to start growing this channel a bit because one of the things is I want to try to reduce my workload in terms of work, like just going to work. I work in construction, so I rarely have time or energy. Plus, you know, like I'm also a runner. You know, I do workouts and stuff. I'm always tired, you know, and I don't want to be tired all the time. So hopefully, if I can kind of snowball something, like I said, get some YouTube ad revenue, but also, you know, get into making videos again, because making videos was really fun back then. And then get a good flow working on DvN, remove a lot of the distractions of exterior problems, you know. I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous. But I don't know, actually. I think this right here, if you guys have any more passionate words that you really want to say, get some things off your chest, or have this is the right video, you know. Leave some comments and tell me about literally anything, I guess. I don't know, anything about DvN. I'm kind of spacing out a little bit. Not spacing out, but I'm kind of droning off a bit. Because it's like, since this video's unedited, very unscripted, as you can tell, I want to make sure that I get everything that I can off my chest, everything that I could say. This is probably going to conclude this, I think. But you see, here's one of the maps one of our guys, or maybe a couple of our guys, are working on. It's a Moonlight remake. It's pretty cool, actually. Oh yeah, dude, I gotta get onto making some of the newer maps too, like Cargo and Stadium. Those are ancient and left forgotten, man. Oh. But yep. I think that's all for now. I've talked about endless mode a lot, but I have not mentioned it much in detail on my channel. But I think one of these days I should make a video definitely covering that, but probably not, maybe not anytime soon. I don't know, unless I feel like it, because Endless is kind of a way later thing. That's a pretty major update in its own. Like, Endless is worth an entire major update alone, because it also consequentially adds a lot of side content and whatnot. But yeah, I think in store we have a lot of fixing and overhauls to do, plus we have attrition overhaul, the super unit changes, and probably some general game changes too. And also UI. We need to fix the UI, the mobile UI, make the game actually like cross-play friendly, fix the Trident QTE and actually make it of better quality. I'm thinking about one day just completely overhauling the UI from the ground up across all game modes, because the game is great on PC for the most part, other than performance, which is being addressed. Because in actually the branch we're playing at, actually the game runs pretty smooth for the most part. We have a couple of things that need to get ironed out still, but mobile, I know, is very hard to play, and we have collectively made it even harder. Actually, I have a big part in this too. Sorry. Because the mobile GUI, or the mobile UI in general, is really freaking hard to work with. And console, the game was never built for console. I don't know why it got like half-baked console support randomly. Unannounced, by the way, when it first came out. And its features aren't even complete. Like, okay. Like, it's just there. And it's like, I think you're supposed to, what I was told was like, you can do it on console, but you have to like hook up your keyboard and mouse. And I was like, what? Yeah, no. God. I don't like the settings menu because it's really small, and if we're going to have a lot of settings, we should actually make the selection and searching for settings easier. Mechanics and controls in general are annoying, like having to switch the items. Like, I know people get used to it, but like, I'm sorry, switching the jetpack to jet is like, why? Why can't you have an optional bind to jetpack? Like, while holding shovel, you can like press V to leap, you know? Or, you know, like, I have to hold a shovel to sprint. Like, why not? Why can't you also hold shift to sprint? That one I know is a bit more polarizing, because I know a lot of people have concern, like, balancing, but also, you know, Obviously, you wouldn't be able to fire guns and sprint at the same time. That's still more of a topic of debate. Bad example, but spitballing ideas around. There's just a lot of things like that, but one thing at a time. I think I really want to focus on ironing out the game's performance as a whole in the upcoming updates, and then setting a bit more of a roadmap and like what's going to actually be to come. Like CDR had concerns on whether or not he'd be able to stay around to operate his pathfinding system, because if not, we would have to actually start fresh with a new pathfinding system, because if he's not going to be there, we can't rely on him because he has to make the meshes himself. So I have a lot of learning to do involving pathfinding. I'm not going to think about it too much before I start losing motivation. But yeah, that's it. Conclusion of rant session. Yeah, bye, I guess.